performance tonight didn't seem to be kind of up to your typical standards. What were you seeing out there on the floor that either you all were giving up too easily or they were just simply getting?
Credit them. They're a good team. They're a good offense. And you don't want to take anything away from their talent level or how they played. So that's a factor. And then I just thought, to guard a team that's that dynamic, we had to be a lot tighter than we were tonight. And it was just kind of it was death by paper cut. It was kind of everything. It was transition. It was fouling. There was a little bit of the glass. And then, just a lack of discipline, just like in our help. We were just a step late to a lot of things tonight. When we watch that game, we're going to be like, man, we let that one go because of how controllable some of those plays were.
In spite of that, you all did give yourselves a chance in the last few minutes. How'd you feel about charging back from down 15 in that fourth quarter?
Yeah, I thought, first of all, when you're down 15 in the fourth, it's hard to come back from that. So, to put ourselves in a position to threaten the game was positive. I thought the group in the middle of the fourth did a nice job. The closing group kept playing. I thought our situational awareness tonight, we gave ourselves every chance down the stretch to cut into the lead. But, like I said, you're coming back from 15, it's really hard.
And then lastly, just Jalen Williams, J-Dub makes two massive defensive plays late with the block and then the rip on Trae Young. Mm-hmm. Just your thoughts on how he's continuing to come into his own in some of these situations? Yeah,
he definitely is. And I thought even offensively tonight, he was on the gas a lot more than he was in Denver. I think he took 6 shots in Denver. And tonight came out really aggressive every time he had the ball. I thought he played with great force. And then obviously defensively, he continues to develop on that end of the floor, and you add that to his size and toughness and intelligence, and it bodes well for him.
Barry Tram with the Oklahoma. How do you feel? Atlanta clearly tried to take advantage of the size advantage. How do you feel like you countered that tonight?
I thought that what lost us the game was like controllable fundamentals on defense, and I'm not denying that the size was a factor, but it was a trade-off. It's a trade-off we're kind of willing to accept. When you're starting Kenrich Williams at the 5, you're leaning into a smaller lineup, and we blasted them in the paint tonight. We had more points in the paint. We had more offensive rebounds than they did. And so we thought, if you're doing those two things, I think you're offsetting it enough to give yourself a chance. And what hurt us more was just, like I said, the controllable fundamentals on defense. But we're making the choice to do that right now. We think it's positive. It's been a net positive. I even think tonight it was probably a positive when we really downsized. We just need to be better in kind of the margins of the game.
You had it 3 with 14 seconds left, or 15. You go for the quick 2. Explain your strategy on that.
Well, first of all, it's hard when you advance the ball to get the ball into Shai's hands at times. They can deny. It gives them time to kind of set what they want to do. So opening the floor up like that with only one timeout left can be advantageous. I told him to look for the 2. That's why he drove the ball. I thought he probably got fouled on that play. He had those guys lifted. They weren't legal defenders. So if you get fouled there, you go to the line with 7 seconds. Now they have to get the ball back in bounds again. They're also out of timeouts because they just used one. And we have a timeout to be able to advance one more time late in the game. So in those situations, I'm usually going to opt, unless we have 2 timeouts, I'm usually going to opt to play fast and try to extend the game that way. But obviously it didn't work out tonight.
Talked pregame about wanting to play a little bit faster. What did you think about the pace tonight?
Yeah, I thought we played much faster tonight. It was great pace on offense. A lot of good things offensively. We pumped 132 points up there. So that wasn't our problem tonight. Our problem was just, like I said, too many paper cuts defensively.
And then said problem was defensively, but you guys, 31 assists. This is the 12th straight game with 20 or more assists. Every game in January actually has been with 20 or more assists. Has there been a mindset change on moving the ball or anything?
Obviously our offense has been pretty potent for a good stretch now. I think it's a combination of things, but I think the players are, developing an understanding of, the power of the whole on that end of the floor. I thought we made a lot of early plays tonight. I don't want our defense or the fact that we lost the game to overshadow that I thought we really played the right way offensively and really, put a lot of pressure on their defense. That's not what lost us the game tonight. So we ticked forward again in that area, but obviously have other things we need to improve on.
Shai has a real big first half, 26 points the first half, only 10 in the second. Was that something that they did? Was that something consciously you were trying to get the ball maybe a little bit more, maybe telling Shai to dish it off a little bit more?
I never tell them to dish it off. The defense tells them what to do. And I thought they were just more conscious of putting 2 on him. And I thought both teams kind of did that. I thought he and Young, for them, got loose early. At one point, you looked up, they both had 32, I think. And then both teams kind of like doubled down on tightening, just making somebody else beat you. So we were doing that with Young, especially in the fourth quarter. They were doing that with Shai. And on our end of things, I thought Shai made the right plays. I mean, he put his teammates at advantages. He got guys shots.
It looked like there was a lot of physicality on the last few plays towards the end of the game. You mentioned Shai on the last drive, and then Josh on one of his drives towards the end of the game. Did you get any type of explanation from the officials on what they were seeing there?
It's hard to get explanations that late in the game. Obviously, we're trying to manage the game. I thought those were plays they probably could have gotten. We'll see the last 2-minute report. The thing that was disappointing was they told me, I did get an explanation in the first half, and they said we were shooting a lot of threes. And then you look down and we took, 15 to 20 more shots in the paint than they did. So if they're going to give me that explanation, then I'd like that to be true.
Trae Young just seems adept at kind of gathering attention and then dissecting, and that was especially apparent tonight. What were you seeing from him on the floor tonight?
He was on the gas. I thought he really played well, and I thought he's obviously a really talented player, but he was jolting early in possessions. I thought in the first half the biggest problem with him was our readiness when he crossed half court. I thought we were kind of sitting down, getting ready for a possession, and next thing you know, he's got an advantage. So I have a lot of respect for the way he played tonight. I thought he really controlled the game, especially like I said early, and it really loosened us up defensively, and that obviously was the game for us.
Anybody else?
Yeah, you down the stretch, you didn't play Lou. That almost never happens. What was your thinking there?
I wasn't planning on playing that group. That group just, that was the group that gave us a jolt in the middle of the quarter. And I think, we had a nice rhythm going there on both ends of the floor. And, just kind of chose to roll with them. Less of an indictment on Lou, more rewarding the effort of those guys and not trying to, throw off the chemistry of what we had going there.
Lastly, Zhang came back. What'd you see out of him? Is it tough to want to get him back into the flow of things, but also know that he's going to have some rough spots getting back in the swing?
Yeah, I think we can expect that, especially with the amount of time that he was out. But we're certainly glad to have him back. We want 17 guys available. So as these guys start to come back, we're going to welcome them with open arms.
Can you kind of take from this?
Yeah, it was from the start. Offensive rebounds killed us. Capella, Collins, both, were owning the glass. And that was one of the things we spoke about coming in. We needed to keep them off the boards. We started small with, K-Ridge at the 5, but outside of that, we've got length and size everywhere. So we had to be better on that end. We fouled way too much. They shot way too many free throws. And I think from that point on, it was, neither team was playing defense. It just became a battle of who could score more points. And in the end, they outscored us. But defensively, that's kind of what we hang our hats on. And we got to be a lot better than that.
Down the stretch, though, you all were able to string together some stops kind of in that last 6 minutes. What did you like kind of about that response and at least giving yourselves a chance in the final 2?
Yeah, exactly. They went on a run. We went on a run. It was kind of back and forth in that last quarter. I think, Bays was big off the bench for us in that last term. Defensively, he got up, he was disruptive, getting in the lanes. Dub, Wiggs, those guys were great for us that end of the floor. And I think we got out and ran. The crowd got into it, got loud, and they called a timeout. It was a 6-point game. And then from that point on, we just kind of had to keep our foot down. I think, they got a few looks, fouls, and kind of just, extended that lead a little bit. And we're playing from behind for most of that quarter. I think did a good job to get it back to a one possession game. Had a chance to tie the game at the end. But, we fought, but just dug ourselves too deep of a hole in that last quarter to get out of.
You now have 55 games in your career of at least 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That's 4th most all time for anybody under 21 years old. Just your continued kind of consistency that you're finding in terms of being able to impact the game, really on those 2 levels specifically.
Yeah, always love rebounding. Always been, a bigger guard, so just trying to help out the bigs on that end of the floor. And obviously, I love passing the ball. That's my kind of, niche on the floor, and just trying to get guys looks. Trying to make plays around me better. And I guess, the numbers will kind of just follow.
didn't get the win, but a silver lining is you guys had another low turnover game with the high assist game. And Mark said that was credit to guys like you and Shai who aren't turnover prone guys. Has this been like a mindset change between you guys?
That's generous. I've been pretty turnover prone lately, but yeah, trying to take care of the ball. I mean, especially me. I think, start of the year I was turning it over way too much, and it just gives the other team extra possessions, more chances to score points. And I think lately just trying to make an emphasis of, not every pass needs to be a home run pass or an assist. They can be extra passes, hockey assists. So trying to look after the ball better. And I think when we move the ball, I guess it starts with me and Shai because we've got the ball in our hands a lot, but it's contagious. Guys, it's a flow-on effect. When we passing up good shots for great shots, it makes the offense flow better. I think we're starting to learn that now. We're seeing it when we watch film. It's hard, to make a split-second decision sometimes, but when we watch the film, you see, how open a guy is sometimes, and we're getting better in that area. And the more assists we can have, more potential assists, the better our offense looks.
And then this is the 12th straight game you guys have had 20 or more assists every game in January. How tough is it to play faster but not turn the ball over?
It is tough. Obviously, we've kind of, we spoke about it today. We slowed down the pace a little bit the last few games, and we wanted to get back to, getting out and running. It's one of the advantages of having a small lineup is, their bigs are going to have to chase around a guy like K. Rich or Dub or whoever they're matched to. So getting out running, when we get our pace into the game, we're a tough team to stop, and I think that starts from the defensive end, getting stops, forcing missed shots, and getting out and running. I think it's when we're at our best. We've kind of backed off that a little bit, but just trying to get back to that pace because I think when we're out and running in transition, that's when we play our best basketball, and guys are playing free offense. We're not bogged down trying to run a set every time in the half court against set defense. We can get out, run the floor, get plays in the transition.
You guys lost tonight, but you've been playing really well the last 3 weeks or so. What have you learned about this team that you didn't know when this good stretch started?
Yeah, guys are resilient. To start the year, it was kind of rocky. And obviously now, we've been winning games. We've beaten some really good teams. We've lost some games that we, could have easily won. And I think, it's the next kind of game mentality. Guys don't hang their heads on a loss. We don't get too high on a win. We come in and approach the next game, as Mark has said a million times, a 0-0 mindset, forget about the last one. So credit to the guys. As a young team, it's easy to get high on a huge win. We went on that East Coast road trip and beat a bunch of really good, playoff teams. And I think, we kind of put those in the past, came back and got the job done against Indiana, which, could have been easy to get on a high and lose that one. So credit to the guys, but just continuing to be consistent. We have been lately, but, playing our style of basketball, for 48 minutes is going to help us, win more games.
Whenever you say that, you took 102 shots tonight, scored 132 points. Defensively, whenever you go back and look at the film and stuff like that, is it harder to take defensive stops and positive things defensively whenever you give up 137, you score 132, take 102 shots? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, 132 points is going to win you games a lot of nights. 137 on the other end is not going to win you many games. So, as I said, it was a battle of offense tonight. They didn't defend, we didn't defend, and we've kind of hung our hats. As I said, being good on that end of the floor. We've spoke about hand discipline, not fouling. Guys like Trey, DeJounte, they draw fouls, they try to get to the line, and when they're generating that type of offense, it gets everyone going. So tonight was kind of the same story. We fouled way too much, gave up too many O-boards, which is two things we've really emphasized, at practice and in the film room. So. 137 points, not going to get it done against many teams. But, tonight we just had to be better on that end.
Josh, you mentioned the flow of the offense and things really clicking for you guys recently. A big part of that is just the combination between you and Shai. It feels like you guys are really meshing and learning to play together. Where is that chemistry? What's the biggest thing that has helped with that? Is it something on the floor, off the court, or anything like that?
Yeah, I guess it just comes with time. The more games you play together, the better you start to understand each other's games, how to play, on the ball, off the ball. I think early on, last year it was kind of, his turn, my turn, but now we're starting to incorporate, both of us into the offense a bit more. But, there's 3 other guys on the floor, so, it can't just be about us two. We've got to get other guys involved as well. I think when everyone's, up and about, playing with energy, that's when we're at our best as a team. So, as 2 main ball handlers, it's our responsibility to make players around us better. Get guys looks, get the team energized, and I think when we're doing that, that's when we're at our best.
And then you've been really relentless, just attacking the basket, finishing through contact. Is that something you also work with Chip with, or is it just mainly just standard shooting free throws, threes, and jump shots?
No, we do a bit of finishing too. I mean, just trying to get to all the way to the rim instead of settling for floaters, which is not really a high percentage shot. I think last year I had a heavy dose of floaters in that mid range area. Just trying to make emphasis of getting downhill, getting to the rim, finishing. Trying to draw fouls, which ain't been really working for me lately. But just trying to make an emphasis of getting to the rim. Chip works on that with me, so continuing to get better there. Last one.
Tomorrow marks 3 years since Kobe has passed away. I was just wondering if you had a favorite Kobe moment.
Yeah, I think his last game. I think a lot of people would say the same thing. I mean, to see what he did, shot the ball a lot of times, and obviously that game was all about Kobe, but. To go out the way he did, as one of the greatest to ever do it, was a special night. I still remember watching the game. His legacy will live on forever. There's kids all around the world that, idolize Kobe and want to be Kobe. Growing up, when you throw a piece of paper in the trash can, you say Kobe. So speaks to the influence he's had on kids, all around the world. A legend will be forever. So that last game, definitely my favorite Kobe memory.
Gallo, Bally Sports. Shai, just as you kind of digest this game, what were your thoughts on the points that you all gave up and maybe defensively where you all weren't kind of up to your normal standard tonight?
Yeah, I think we let one slip tonight for sure. Our offense was good enough. We didn't bring it defensively. They made us pay.
Were there any specific areas that you feel like are really controllable areas that you all do at a high level that just weren't quite there tonight?
I think our shell is usually better. And then we fouled a lot tonight as well. And they're a team that feeds off that, and they did so for sure. And then rebounding hurt us tonight. That's an emphasis of ours we're trying to get better at. But I'd say those things.
But then, down 15 in the fourth quarter, you guys give yourself a chance down the stretch. Did anybody or anything stand out about kind of that furious comeback that you made?
Yeah, we got stops in that stretch. And got consecutive stops. I think that's what allowed us to get out, play in transition, and make our way back into the game. But that kind of spurt started defensively.
Shai, last 45 seconds of the first half, I think you had 3 and 1s, getting Murray in all kinds of trouble. You didn't get that kind of that whistle in the second half. What was the difference, and any of that related to the last possession?
I couldn't tell you. I thought I got fouled on a few possessions. Refs didn't. And that's that, I guess. But I just tried to play my game, whether I'm getting calls or not.
Shai, I was asking Josh about just the flow that you guys have recently been playing in, the rhythm that is, a lot of it's just come from the chemistry that you guys have sort of built and starting to play really well together. I just wanted to ask you, what do you think has been the biggest factor in you guys just learning to play together and building this confidence?
Yeah, I think both of us are getting better as basketball players. And then the more time on the floor we have together, the better we'll get together. And then we both want to. And both of us are willing to sacrifice to make it work. And I think we can both feel that when we are in sync, we're both better.
Shai, you had 26 in the first half, 10 in the second. Was it something that they did that, maybe defended you a little bit different? You were going to go and pass the ball a little bit more. Was it something that you consciously thought that you were going to go ahead and get your other teammates involved a little bit more in the second half? Or is there anything that you even noticed?
Yeah, they were in their gaps more in the second half for sure. I had a few like kickouts for open shots that some went in, some didn't. It's basketball, but they for sure made a halftime adjustment, trying to close the lane, and I just tried to make the right basketball play.
Yeah, Mark talked about wanting you guys to play faster and said you did tonight, and you had 31 assists with 12 turnovers, another high assist game with low turnover games. It's been like that all January. But so how tough is it to play that fast without turning the ball over as much?
Yeah, it's not that hard. Just got to try to make the right basketball decision every time, and still be aggressive through it. And it'll work itself out. We have good basketball players, good decision makers.
And then do you have a favorite Kobe moment?
I can't pick one. Probably 81.
Shai, are you still capable of getting wowed by Jalen Williams? I mean, he did some things tonight that just eye-popping for a rookie. Have you guys come to expect that, or is he still able to make you guys say, "Oh"?
Yeah, I think we expect that from him. He's proven for sure that he belongs in this league, and he's going to be a really good basketball player for a really long time.
We go last one in front. There.
There's been a real buzz around this team that started on you all's last road trip. Do you or the team feel that right now?
Buzz in terms of what? Like what?
Just nationally getting a lot more attention, the fans kind of more into it.
Not really. I think we can feel we're getting better and winning more games for sure. And we like the feeling, obviously. And then as far as the fans go, they've always been great. But yeah, we don't really notice it. We just know we're getting better.
Your thoughts on kind of defensively, that's where you all have hung your hat, particularly during this recent stretch, and what maybe wasn't quite there for you on that end of the floor tonight?
They hit some tough shots, I think, early, and they got really comfortable. We've talked about having better starts during the year, and we just didn't have a good one. When a team like that gets comfortable early, it's hard to stop.
What stood out to you about the fourth quarter, especially after you get down 15 and you're able to make that charge? Obviously, you factored massively into that.
Just playing hard. Like we said before, the NBA is all about runs. They made a kind of a big push kind of in the middle of the fourth quarter. We kind of knew what we had to do, and then obviously we made our run towards the end, but it's kind of just like a little too late. And, that comes down to us just being ready to play right out the gate.
Just the intensity of it, what's the feeling like as you rip Trae Young out there up top and go out for the run-out dunk?
I was just trying to be aggressive and not foul. I kind of seen that he wasn't really looking, trying to look for like some type of offense, so I kind of just gambled and tipped it away. And then from there, I was just kind of running down, looking at how much time was left on the clock.
You guys had another high assist, low turnover game. It's been like that all January. And Mark talked about wanting one of you guys to play a little bit faster. So how tough is it to play that fast but still keep those turnovers low?
I think it's tough. It's definitely a kind of like a fine line doing that this year. And I think we're just getting more comfortable and knowing where we are on the court. And I think when you're willing to pass, it kind of makes up for a lot of stuff. And I think we've just been really comfortable playing with each other and getting off of it quick. And that's kind of just been our identity.
And then having that 0-0 mindset, how important has that been, especially for a guy just coming into the league?
It's extremely important. Obviously, we didn't want to reminisce on how we played them last time. And, coming up this next game, we want to be 0-0 mentality as well, playing Cleveland at home where we took the L. And, just knowing that. And I think the team really harps on it. So it's easy for me to kind of get along with it and just understanding that there's a lot of games left.
And then you talked about it a little bit yesterday about your brother being a McDonald's All-American. It wasn't official then. Now it's official. Can you just talk about it a little bit more and what it means for you and your family?
It's a huge moment. He'll be the first, obviously, in the household to do that, and he's definitely let me know that. It's an extremely awesome moment. I'll definitely be tuning in, and it's just something that I think he'll treasure for the rest of his life. So I'm happy that I get to experience that while he's here. So.
And just a second ago, Shai was saying that really doesn't get wowed by stuff you do now. It kind of expect you to do this. You belong in this league is something he said too, which there's rookie walls. I mean, there's rookie expectations or whatever. Right about this time, the game's supposed to, quote unquote, slow down for rookies and you're supposed to see things and whatever. Are you kind of feeling that? Is the game slowing down for you or starting to feel like what you actually can do without worrying about, oh my gosh, I'm in the NBA now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of slowed down when I got hit in my face the first game. I kind of didn't have a choice to slow down, but it's just everything's kind of coming along. I think the coaching staff and the team just kind of trust me to go out there and just play hard, and I think that covers up for a lot of mistakes I may make. So just kind of keeping that in mind, just playing with confidence has been my thing. I mean, I understand that there's going to be highs and lows during the season. I've had 1 point, I've had 4, I've had good games and bad games, so just kind of understanding that and just rolling with the punches.
It feels like you bring a lot of energy to the floor every single night. Is that a point of emphasis for you?
Yeah, like I said, just playing hard is kind of where I hang my hat. I think I'm talented enough to make the right play when I get it or kind of play off the ball with these guys. So, yeah, just playing hard and kind of everything falls into place from there.
I think we've all kind of found some parallels between you and Kobe. I found it really intriguing that you scored 24 today, the day before the anniversary, while wearing number 8. Were you kind of secretly gunning for that once you saw you had 20, or did it just happen?
No, I'm never looking at how many points I have or kind of anywhere in that. I actually smoked the layup at the end of the game. So, but yeah, that's just a really cool coincidence. Obviously, Kobe means a lot to me, and that's just a pretty dope kind of thing. I think I saw it on Twitter just now. So.
J-Dub, you were a late bloomer coming out of high school into college. You had a huge growth spurt, and then in the draft process, you were one of the late risers. I just want to ask you, obviously, you're not surprised that you're playing this well in the NBA, but are you surprised at all that you hit the ground running just so quickly, just playing well as a rookie?
Nah.
And then, have you ever stolen a lob like that before?
I didn't actually know it was a lob. I thought he shot the floater, so I kind of just wanted to contest it, and then it was kind of low, so my arms actually ended up slapping it, and then it kind of just took off. It luckily went right to K-Rich, and I think they had everybody crash, so it ended up being a 2-on-1, so that just kind of ran out. But yeah, I didn't know it was a lob.
Have you always been a dunker?
No. I think
where did all that? I think you had 5 tonight. Where did all that come from?
I think just growing, and that's really it. I mean, I think my first dunk was like my senior year of high school. But yeah, just kind of growing and kind of hitting the weight room and kind of coming into my own. Yeah, I think that just a lot of that was just like maturity, body wise, and kind of starting to lift. And yeah, that was really it. Obviously, I can't speak for my brother, so he's on a completely different path. I think he was putting it between his legs at 15, so he got the good genes.
When he's dunked 5 times on the Hawks, he can talk.
Yeah.